Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Join Reiki Master and Quantum Healing expert Wes Coons as he guides listeners through the depths of self-discovery and spiritual enlightenment to uncover the version of you we haven't met yet.
Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back to the show. I'm excited today. We have a very special guest we've had on the show before. Hey, Margaret.
Returning champion.
That's right.
Hey, Wes.
That's right.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, we were just teasing because we had dinner together, and Margaret's having a reaction to the soy sauce.
Oh, yeah. Typical.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah, that's fun. So, Margaret, you're here. You came back from Egypt for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I came back the end of June. Worked here in Virginia Beach a few weeks. Went to Maine for a couple weeks to chill and see family, and back here now, and I'm leaving for Egypt next week.
So, with you being back in Maine, tell us about the lobster dinner.
Well, my brother-in-law is a lobster fisherman, and his father owned one of the big wharfs there, and so I had lobster right off the boat, as fresh as it gets.
Nice.
And got home, and it was all cooked and picked out, so we had lobster rolls instead of the traditional hot lobster with butter and stuff. So, yeah, I have lobster right off the boat every time I go. Sometimes we have crab meat. Sometimes we have scallops, and we always have lobster, though.
Uh-huh. So how do you make a lobster roll? What do you put in there?
You just boil the lobster, pick it out, and then you just add mayonnaise. That's the
Really?
way. That's the way we all eat it. So
not Miracle Whip, but mayonnaise.
No, mayonnaise. And some people put Old Bay seasoning in it, but we like it just plain on toasted hot dog rolls, and usually with fries and maybe some coleslaw, and a whole nice big meal with it.
Do you dip your fries in the mayonnaise too?
I will dip my fries in mayonnaise and ketchup mix. Yep.
That sounds good. Making me hungry. We just ate.
Yeah, I know.
We have that ongoing argument, Miracle Whip or mayonnaise, right?
Never Miracle Whip. Not for me anyway.
I love Miracle Whip, but who am I?
It's because it's the sweetness of it. And when I'm wanting stuff with mayonnaise, I'm not expecting sweetness.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I also wanted to throw a shout out to Paranormal People Podcast in the United Kingdom. They had me on their show, and that's airing right now. If you want to listen, we're on the Paranormal Podcast in the United Kingdom. I was a little disappointed the king didn't stop in and say hi. I was expecting him to pop in and say hello. I'd be a pretty good king. I'm just saying. I think I could make that work for me.
You're shockingly good looking.
I'm shockingly good looking and humble, right? Oh,
yeah. So, you'd make a good king.
Yeah, it would be fun. There's a brand new Aston Martin I'm sure I could get the king people to pay for. And, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the king people, the technical terms we use.
Well, you are sitting here with royalty because my family traced back their ancestry, and we do come from royalty, so.
Well, I'll make sure I bow when we're done. Abigail, if you guys don't know, my German Shepherd, Abigail, Lady Abigail Rose, her grandfather is the #1 German Shepherd in the world. She's royalty, too.
Yep, she is.
So she's sleeping in the other chair, or in the chair in the other room. So, Margaret, I wanted to ask, when things are crazy, I hear people say, oh, Mercury is in retrograde. What does that mean?
So all of the planets move backwards at some point, and then they'll move forward again. And for Mercury, when it goes retrograde, it's kind of moving backwards. So a lot of people get all wound up. Oh, don't sign contracts. Don't do big business. It's really famous for causing technical glitches and things like that. It's also a time when planets go backwards. Now, I'm no astrologer. I'm not even a beginner, but I do know a few things. When planets go backwards, it's giving you an opportunity to go back over the challenges and the mistakes and things like that, to learn from them again. So sometimes people will go back through that same challenge again because they've not learned what they need to learn from it. So I look at Mercury retrograde. I don't pay attention if someone says it is. Okay, I don't live my life by it. if I get technical glitches, then I get technical glitches. And I say, oh, well, maybe it's Mercury retrograde. I don't know. I don't live my life by those types of predictions. The astrology is scientific. They're able to prove things with it and all of that. There's different types of astrology, and you can really lay out your life. But I choose to just live out my life and then see how it goes to the astrology.
Sure.
So when I was younger, I would read the horoscope, but I would read it at the end of the day because I wanted to see how my day went towards the horoscope, not letting it dictate to me how my day is supposed to be. So I look at astrology the same way, which horoscope is, but I'm just doing what I'm here to do, what I want to do, and 9 times out of 10, I have a couple friends who are astrologers, and they'll say, well, that's exactly what your planets are saying you're doing. So I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm on track then.
Yeah, right. So does the planet actually spin back? I mean, does it physically spin backwards? Does it physically move backwards? Or is this just an energy thing we're talking about?
I think that it just appears to be going backwards.
Okay.
So it may have slowed down. I'm not sure. That's something that we have to Google.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Every time something chaotic is going on, people are like, oh, Mercury's in the retrograde. I was like, man, it's been in retrograde for 56 years now.
It goes in retrograde often.
Yeah.
Often. So it must have a very fast orbit around the Earth, I guess it would be. Do not quote me on this at all, because as I said, I don't understand all that. It's not my forte.
Sure. So what are your thoughts on the scientists said that something just entered our solar system and is going to be here in November? Have you seen any of that stuff?
No, I've not.
Yeah, there's this something came in that's rather large, and I've seen a lot of things on social media. Of course, they fearmonger that it's a spaceship, that it's this, that it's that. There's supposed to, I think that is different than an asteroid. I believe there's an asteroid coming here.
2029?
Yeah, something like that. That's going to be really, really close. I didn't know if you picked up on any of that stuff or not.
No, I've not seen anything about that, but let's see if I can get some information on that. Don't quote me on it, but I'm here. It's remnants of a comet.
Okay, could be. Well, the one thing that I was looking at, if the asteroid did come close to the Earth, if the asteroid misses us, it's the debris that's going to be the problem, hitting all that. I mean, we've got so much technology in space right now.
Well, the debris, and also it's going to mess with the magnetic resonance of the planet and can really cause problems with that. Mm-hmm. Even if we have solar flares, it causes problems with the magnetic resonance of our heart.
Yeah.
So people get palpitations and anxiety and things like that, or atrial fib. All of those things that kind of happen to people when we've had solar flares shoot off. So imagine that's kind of a normal occurrence, and and that's far away. It takes a few days to get here, and it weakens, and it can take out grid systems, satellite grid systems, knock out electronics. So imagine instead of that solar flare, now you've got a huge object that has probably iron and things like that inside of it. That magnetic resonance with the Earth.
Sure.
Can really probably cause a lot of havoc. Like I said, I am no scientist. This is my best guess on it. Mm-hmm. But it is, if that interests you, that's something to look into.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't planned on talking about this, but have you seen where they're talking about China has a base on the moon? Have you seen that?
No, I've not. But
Yeah.
I've heard actually just the other day about some contracts that were signed between the U.S. and Russia when we went to the moon, and supposedly they went to the moon and said they would not disclose to the public what they saw on the moon, but no, Russia and India did not sign any contracts like that. And China has promised that when they send another spaceship to the moon, that they will disclose live everything that they find.
Yeah,
Now,
we'll see.
India's up there now.
Yeah.
India just launched a while ago, so India's up there now.
Okay. Well, I've seen in some of the podcasts that I watch that are ran by special forces and people like that, former team members, they're talking about it like crazy. So I was curious. I don't know if it's true or not, but seems interesting. I guess there's some kind of mineral that they're mining up there, supposedly, that's worth millions of dollars of an ounce. And you can like run entire cities off of a couple drops type deal. I don't know if I'm exactly correct, but it's something like that.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
I only want a couple gallons. I'll be happy.
Why not use what's here and that's free?
Well,
You know, the sun.
yeah,
wind.
I seen something where the president wants to put a nuclear facility on the moon. So that was in the news. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're smarter than me. But it's interesting watching some of the stuff, and you don't know what's true, you don't know what's not true, but some of it's fun to think about. I just wish they would hurry up and disclose the aliens, because I'm ready to go check that out. They're here.
Why do you have to go check it out? Just call them. They'll come.
Yeah. Well,
They'll come.
yeah,
Trust me.
Hey, I'll work in the galley, man. I'll work and just take us with you. Take me and the dog with you. And don't eat my dog. So
I've been on some ships during meditation. They're fabulous.
I bet.
They're huge, humongous, holding thousands of beings, and they grow food, create food. It's just phenomenal, truly.
Well, a buddy of mine is in Alaska right now, and he's buying some land as a retirement thing. He's going to mine gold, and he was telling me that he was stargazing a couple weeks ago, and he said, Wes, I clearly seen these ships in some kind of battle up in space, shooting each other and stuff like that. I have seen something similar here at Virginia Beach, but I think 2 summers ago I was laying at the beach, and all of a sudden this ship flew over that was pyramid shaped. I mean, it was 400 or 500 feet wide. It was
Wow.
big, and it was solid black, so it wasn't that dark. The light coming off the water and stuff. You seen it go by, you couldn't hear it, and just went right out to sea. I'm like, all right,
Yep.
we're not alone.
No, I've seen in Maine quite a few ships, and so has some of my friends and family. Of course, Maine is really rural, and there's water, there's lakes, and everything everywhere. So it's a great opportunity to see up there as well. But disclosure, I had a friend. Oh my God, I don't want them to come here. They're gonna kill us. I said, they've already been around like 50 years. Don't you think if they wanted to kill us, they already would? They could.
We'd be done.
Yeah,
We'd be done.
we'd be done. So
Yeah.
no, that's not their intention. That is not their purpose. And don't get me wrong, there are people that were abducted and tested, and not pleasant things happen to them. But that's long since passed. I don't believe that is still going on. But I do believe that it happened like 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. So we're in Lionsgate right now, right?
Yes, I do believe that we are still in the energy of it, maybe for a few more days. It actually opened up on July 26th.
Okay.
And on the 8th is actually the intensity direct alignment with Sirius. And it is called the Lionsgate because it's in the astrological time of Leo, but it is also lines up directly with the pyramids in Giza. And it's about manifestation, and they had the Sphinx. It's got a person's face on it, but they believe that it was a lion. And lions are You can find them all over Egypt, put there to protect. They have goddess Basat, I think I said that right. They have Sekhmet, and they're very revered. And those beings are very real. And so the energy in Egypt lining up directly with Sirius, part of Orion's belt, and all of that is a portal of energy coming in that brings in huge manifestation. Watching what you're thinking, you want to make sure you're manifesting what you really want. But the chatter that I've been hearing and what I've been feeling on my own is this is the biggest portal of the year, almost always, but it is far greater. The energy coming into the earth is far greater than it has ever been on a Lionsgate. And if you were to pay attention to the people around you, or I really don't watch the news or listen, but people are all over the place. They're feeling chaos, and you can see if you're driving on the highway, the driving is very erratic, more than usual, or very aggressive more than usual, because that energy on the planet is intensifying. So people are needing to make a choice that they want to change their life and they want things to be more positive and all this, and they're making that change. Or the people are saying, F that, this is what I'm going to keep doing this, and that's what they keep doing, and then life keeps being challenging for them. So that outside chaos is kicking its heels up. And everything that is not for the best and highest good for all of humanity is beginning to come to the surface. It has to come to the surface in order to be stopped and cleared up. There's all these huge, in the last couple of years, all these sex trafficking rings that have been busted, and human trafficking rings as well. There's a whole lot of drug busts going on. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in the government, not just our government, all the governments that are now coming to light. And people are finally being held accountable, or in the process of being held accountable for what they've done and what they've participated in. So on one end, that is the best thing to do, because we need to have it come to the light to be gone.
Sure.
To clear it up. But the other thing it does is it creates this diversity, which we need to be in unity. So it's people feel like it's us against them. So it's Democrats against Republicans, and it's this culture, this nationality against the other, and it just goes on and on and on, when that diversity needs to be stopped and turned into unity.
Sure.
So all of this is all about energy and moving forward into a higher frequency and a place of, some call New Earth, fifth dimension. It's a frequency, and in that frequency, everybody gets along, everybody loves each other, everybody helps each other, everybody grows food, everybody does everything together. Nobody does things separately. And it's not about being an individual anymore. The individual is very egoic based and fear based. It's me against the rest of the world. That's fear based.
Sure.
So we're switching from that. We're switching from the duality of very light and day, light and night, dark and night, good and evil, to more of polarity, where hot water, cold water. There's no hot water or cold water. There's just water with different temperatures. There's no good or bad. Or my guides told me years ago, there's no dark and light. There's only different grades of light, different shades of light. So even in the darkest of beings, not all of them, but most of them, because some of them are made just of energy. They were never born at the spark of God.
Sure.
And changed. So there's just different vibrations of that spark.
That's interesting. You say there's different shades of light. When I was in the Marine Corps, They said, you're not white or black, you're light green or dark green. We're all green. We're just different shades of green. And to build that brotherhood and that sisterhood, so we're one and we can move as one. It was interesting. It's funny when you see people leave the military, how they yearn for that connection. And
It's community, it's family, it's everything. Even though it may be difficult, there's that trust that gets built. So has a lot of people have different ideas about the military. The military, I believe, is good in some aspects because it teaches that unity. It teaches to have confidence in yourself, and things like that. But then it can also be very difficult because it's about fighting.
Sure.
And war.
Sure.
Which we didn't have to have any of that.
Well, actually, there's only really one military in the United States Marine Corps. Everybody else is support. So we appreciate you supporting us. And the 250th birthday of the United States Marine Corps is coming up this November.
Oh, all right.
Yep, I'm excited about that if you can't tell. So we're going to be at Chesty Puller's house. And if you don't know who Chesty is the most decorated Marine in Marine Corps history. He's a badass. So did I tell you we went to his house last year? Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah, I knew that. You went with
Nate.
Yeah. With
and
Nate.
Andrea. Yeah. So that was fun. So we had a good time. So we're going back again for this big birthday. So it's going to smoke some barbecue. If you want to go, just reach out and I'll make sure it happens. You can come with us.
That'll be a fun time.
It will be.
I'm sure.
It will be. So, something I hear all the time, and you just talked about it. The Bible talks about it, and I hear his show on a regular basis, and he talks about how powerful your words are. I remember when I first started on this spiritual journey, I was hanging out with a friend of mine, Pam, 4 or 5 years ago, and she would yell at me all the time, your word doesn't align. Your words aren't aligning. And I'm like, whatever, man, that shit's not real. But it is. I had no comprehension on what she was saying. It took me a minute. And I really work hard throughout the day to pay attention to my thoughts, my words. And it's not perfect every day. It just isn't. I'm not a perfect person. But trying to make sure that I'm staying in alignment with what comes out of my mouth.
Well, your words are your power. Some people say your words are a spell. I don't like that word.
Yeah, I don't go with that, but yeah.
But it's because the word has a bad connotation to it that it's been given by society. But your words are powerful. Your thoughts, even if you don't speak it, it comes out in your mind and it creates issues. Your body's designed to listen to its every command. So if you're having negative thoughts about yourself, then your body's going to say, "Oh, we don't want to be here. Let's just dump this body," and things start happening. So, in your manifestations, people will work on manifestations, and in one word they'll say, "I have this," because you're manifesting with present tense. So I have a new car. And the next minute they're thinking, but I don't know how I can afford a new car. They just negated that. Now that's a legitimate thought, but if you're going to work and pay attention, you need to not have that kind of thought. So, and if you do, then you need to cancel it 3 times and then replace it with 2 positive ones. But not even the playing field, to go up 1 level. But your words are everything.
When I first met you and I started hanging around you, you would say, cancel, cancel, cancel all the time. And that would irritate the shit out of me. I'm like, that's not real, but it was real.
Well, and the other thing is that I'll be canceling stuff in my head, but if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they'll say, and I'm going to cancel it, and I'll cancel to show them like a teaching tool. But also I started doing it and I was realizing I was canceling it from entering my field as well.
Okay.
Because what you hear someone else say is also internalized. And it can cause almost as much harm as your own self saying it.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yes. So I'm constantly canceling things when I'm in conversations with people for my own thoughts. But if they're saying something that is negative, then I'm canceling because I don't want it.
Sure.
I work really hard to do my best to keep my energy clear and it be mine and my own and not pick up other people's stuff. So I'm very mindful of words.
Yeah, your energy field is interesting. I think, I don't know, it was a couple months ago you asked me to do something for you and your energy field wouldn't let me in. And I clearly heard your voice say, wait, who are you? And I'm like, well, you told me to come. You're like, oh, okay. And I had a client ask me to help her and she was working on me a little bit. And she said, you clearly didn't let me have access to you. Yeah.
No, nobody has access to my energy except for me and the divine and somebody I give permission to.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody needs to read me and it's important that they give me this message, then the divine will intervene and allow them to be able to read it so that they can give me the message. That doesn't happen often. And a lot of people get excited. They're just learning how to read and be a medium, and they can see people, and they come in and they be to the shop and they be like, oh, why can't I see anything around you? It's because it's none of your business.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I have a right to not let anyone else see who's with me from my guides and my team, and unless I give you permission. That's not an ego thing. That is a karma thing, because if you go around doing that and someone says you really need to ask permission to do that, to read somebody, and you keep doing it just because you can, you're going to incur negative karma.
Yeah.
And go ahead, have at it, because guess what? I'm all done with incurring any negative karma. I think I've worked out and balanced all my karma, and I am not about getting any more.
Hey, I survived that haunted house. I'm sure there was some payback in there at some point. I'm done with that shit. I am not going back there.
No.
Have you met my friend Kelsey? Do you know Kelsey? She's like 4 foot tall, even though she's probably 5 foot. I tease her. Well, she was on the show a while back, and I tease her that her nickname's Tap, 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 tiny ass person. So we've been debating that there's no free will. So she says there is, and I said there not. And the debate between us is, and I wanted your opinion, is if we're here on a contract and God knows every step that we're going to make, are we actually accessing free will if he already knows what that step's going to be? Or does he know I'm going to go left instead of right, but he still knows? So is that really free will?
It is free will because you chose to make that contract. You chose to agree to it.
Okay, so it's free will before we even got here, is what you're saying. Oh, damn it.
And you still have free will while you're here, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't seem like you have free will because, okay, I want to be spiritual and positive and happy and go through this ascension process and clear my energy out. And then the other person, oh, hell no, I ain't doing that, but their life is shit. Doesn't seem like much of a choice.
Yeah.
But it is, because you can choose to continue living the way you're living or choose to change. If you don't like the way things are, then change. But there are a lot of people that are perfectly happy living that other life. So there is free will, but sometimes it doesn't seem like there's much of a choice.
Well, I'm going to tell her, I'm going to fib a little bit and say that you agreed with me. She'll have to listen to the podcast to see the difference. She's like, there is, mister, there is. And she'll just text me sometimes, free will, I'm going to get a Starbucks. I'm like, get your Starbucks. I already knew you were getting one. She's like, oh, shut up.
I think we might have talked about this or mentioned it on another podcast. If I come back down here again and I've got to sign a contract, I want a microscope to read the dotted line, because I think the dotted line is things that I agreed to that I had no idea were on there. So it's all down to the smallest detail, it is all agreed upon. Now we can decide if we want to roll with that contract once we get down here. Some people do decide, no, I can't do it. That's too much. And they just go do something else.
Sure.
Not necessarily leave the planet, but they just decide not to and become hermit or whatever.
Well, I've come to you and you've helped me change my contract a little bit. That's something you're able to do, right?
Yes. I can go and meet with the council and ask for amendments to be made. And if I get guided to go to the council for somebody, I've never been denied. And I believe I'm already being guided to go because they're going to agree to it.
Sure.
They're not going to say, I'm not going to get information. You need to go to the council for this person. And they're going to say no.
Yeah.
So I do that for a lot of people. It's basically like I can access their Akashic record that way. You can access a person's Akashic record through their auric field, but it's easier for me to actually go to a place and say, okay, this is going on. And then they will start explaining to me how far back, what past lives it's coming from, who is it connected to, how did they get to this place? Because that information actually helps the client then make sense of what's going on with them and the other relationships they have in their life. And that maybe in their ancestry, those same problems that they're having now was in their ancestry. Like I have one client fighting a land dispute, and the land was given to her, clearly inherited, sole owner, and the same thing happened to her grandmother. Her husband died, her grandfather died, she got the land, and they were trying to take it away from her. Because that was like 100 years ago,
Sure.
150 years ago. And they didn't want women owning land on their own. So she's reliving that land dispute because it's in her it's in her genetics.
Yeah.
So those kind of contracts, going and finding out that information is very real, and then getting to get the contracts amended, and then stopping the energy of some of the bleed through that happens. Like she doesn't need to keep reliving what her grandmother already did. So to stop the energy that's feeding that so that she can now have her land free and clear and not be bothered. So a lot of that kind of work gets done.
Well, interesting, isn't it? So
Going to the council is always interesting.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Now, you live in Egypt, right? Half the
Yes.
time. And you're doing what, excursions? Tell us about what you're doing in Egypt.
In October 2025, October 11th through the 22nd, master number days, portal days, we're doing, my boyfriend and I are leading a spiritual Egypt retreat. And everybody that is guided to go to places, whether it's Egypt or Machu Picchu or Glastonbury, whatever it is, you hold codes within your body that need to be released into the grid work that then help us all go through this ascension process and bring in these newer energies. So even just stepping on the land, your soul and body's going to start releasing those codes, whether you're aware of it or not. So people are drawn to these different sites or different places because of that. So in Egypt right now, this retreat is to continue working on the dissemination of the patriarchal programming or the conditioning of fear and slavery and poverty and greed and disease and illness that we got programmed into 100,000 years ago. So taking that down, dismantling, you can't totally get rid of it. You can neutralize it because it's energy. So we can work to neutralize that energy so that the higher vibrational stuff that neutral energy can then be changed into higher vibrational energy. And so that program of the fear and greed and poverty and all of that then starts to dissipate throughout humanity. And it's happening. There's lots of people doing this work. but I was called to go to Egypt to go back to where it began, because that's where that first programming began, is after Atlantis fell and we started coming back through the veil, and it started with Egypt. So in order to really make sure that we get it all, they said I needed to go back to Egypt where it began and work from there. Do I have to go to all the other sites around the world? No. All I have to do is implant energy, intention, codes into the grid there, and they go out throughout the entire Earth grid. Now, it also has to do with divine feminine and divine masculine. Everyone for years now has been talking about sacred feminine, divine feminine. She's been here on the planet all along. That divine feminine energy anchored in the planet in Lake Titicaca in Peru during Lemuria, even before that, so that we could stay here and continue to create. The masculine, the divine masculine at the fall of man, when Atlantis sank, the divine masculine left the planet and a lower vibrational masculine anchored in the planet in the Himalayas, so that we could continue to create. So we had the divine feminine that kind of went into hiding, and there was a lower vibrational feminine that kind of went out across the planet, because every time we kept incarnating through that program of poverty, greed, control, we kept lowering our vibration. So now, the divine masculine, the 3D masculine, a lower frequency masculine, was anchored in the Himalayas so that we could continue to procreate as humans. Also, when that happened, the divine feminine energy was in the throat and in the third eye, because the divine feminine spoke with light into form. The divine masculine energy that was on the planet at the time was in the crown, because the thought would come in and the thought would be given to, and the idea given to the divine feminine, then she would create it. So they worked in beautiful harmony. When the divine masculine left the planet and then the feminine dropped into 3D, those energies dropped into the root and the sacral chakra. They don't belong there. We weren't designed for them to be there. So through this ascension process, and to get into holding a full fifth dimensional frequency, we are going to switch the role of the root and the sacral back up to here. And so both of them now are going to have that energy. So the sacral right now is feminine energy, but the throat and third eye is going to be as well. And the crown and the root are going to be the masculine energy. So that their roles of the chakras are going to flip, and the energies back up to where they belong and be not separated, because the solar plexus and the heart become one chakra in the fifth dimension. Because your solar plexus is about who are you? I am. Your heart is about unconditional love. When you're running a fifth dimensional frequency, I am unconditional love. It becomes one huge chakra. It's magenta. It's beautiful. So with gold in it. So the divine masculine, February 22nd, 2020, anchored on Earth for the first time ever. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Where? They said, just wait, we'll tell you later, which that happens to me a lot. So I'm like, okay. So then I get to Egypt and I start living there, and I'm working on this divine masculine stuff to help with that. And I said, where is it anchored? They said, in Egypt. I said, well, no wonder you wanted me to come here. Because I had no idea. I wasn't even sure why I was being called to Egypt. It comes in bits and pieces. So the longer I'm there, more information becomes available to me. So it anchored in Egypt. Where? Just wait. So then it anchored in the Nile. And they said somewhere between Cairo and Luxor. Okay. And then it got more definitive just recently that it's actually, so you have Cairo up north, Luxor down south. That's just for a visual. And the Osirian temple is kind of like in the middle, and the temple of Hathor. Osiris happens to be one of the divine masculine that is over, one of the divine one of the divine male masters, ascended masters, that is overlighting the divine masculine energy. So it's planted right there in the Nile. So it's like a 90-degree angle or perpendicular to the Osirian temple. I said, okay, now this is starting to make a lot of sense. And then I said, well, why? Why the Nile? Water. Water is of huge importance because all species on Earth require water. It's in the clouds, it's in the air, it's in everything. So if that energy and that frequency is anchoring in the water, it's being disseminated and emanated throughout the entire planet. Not only that, there are 2 of the major aquifers of the planet that are in the ground that provide all of our drinking water that the Nile is tapped into, and so is Lake Titicaca. I've been doing some research to give me the information, and then I kind of look to make sure, okay, I'm hearing it correctly. So now that they're both anchored into the planet and they're both anchored in water, now that energy is starting to emanate throughout the entire planet. So the goal is you cannot go through this ascension process. You cannot go into 5D and live there unless you have fully balanced within you divine masculine and divine feminine. Mm-hmm. So my role is, one of my jobs is not only to dismantle this old program, but also to help people get rid of that lower density energy out of them and to anchor in both of the masculine and feminine. So that's what Egypt is going to do. In the retreat, we're going to go. You're called to go there. You hold the codes. We're going to release codes. You're going to receive activations, downloads. What are activations and downloads? Activations, you're going to receive some energy that helps you with something. Downloads, it could be that, but it's also like information. My role as a facilitator is to help people through that and understand what they're getting. Also, I have the ability to see into past lives and things like that. So if you have the past life experience there and you see yourself in Egypt, trust me, it's a real thing. Then I will be there to facilitate that as well. We're going to be doing meditations to help with anchoring in that divine masculine and feminine in a balance. Meditations that are going to help you flip the energies of your chakras.
Nice.
Plus all of the stuff that happens at the sacred sites. So it's not a destination tour. It's a spiritual, transformational retreat that happens to be in Egypt.
That sounds pretty cool.
I love Egypt. And when first time I went kind of like on vacation to check it out and everything, when I was meeting spiritual people, they would look at me and they would say, welcome home. Yeah, I'm kind of like, huh? And then when I got on the Nile, when I got on the Nile on the boat and I was looking along the banks and everything, that's when all of my past lives just unlocked.
Oh, I bet that would be beautiful, yeah.
I just started seeing everything. And when I just did the retreat, my boyfriend and I was instructed for us to do this retreat by ourselves so that we could go through whatever we needed to go through without me having to help other people. And not only that, but to figure out time-wise and energy-wise what's going to take a lot of energy out of people. And so we went, and I've been to a lot of the temples, but something really big happened to me in the pyramids, in the King's Chamber. And I'm still getting bits and pieces of it. But one thing I can tell you is that when I left Cairo and then went to Luxor and went into the temples that I had been in already, some of them a couple times, I started to be able to read the hieroglyphs.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, whoa. And then I was starting to see how they were actually living their life at that time and not what's depicted in the temples. And I was like, holy... Now, I can't read all the letters per se, things like that, but I could tell from the images what was happening, what was going on. And I was like, whoa, this is something else. So every time my marketer's like, come on, we need to get this out there. You need to send me some of these pictures. And every time I try to get into my phone and start seeing the pictures, I'm with energy. And I'm all shaken up and I'm all unfocused. And I'm like, really, I really have to do this, Ken?
Yeah.
So it's really hard because I'm right back in the energy of it.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to do what I call 3D adulting work. So.
Well, it sounds exciting. So how do people connect with you? If they want healings, you can do that long distance through Zoom and stuff. I know you do work here.
Yes.
We're sitting here and part of the
Curtain
curtain's just pulled out of the wall, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's that. So how do they get a hold of you? How do they connect to do that retreat, to do work with you? How does that work?
Well, I teach on Zoom. I teach in person when I come here to Virginia Beach. I see clients in person here in Virginia Beach, but I'm not here that long out of the year. So I do everything on Zoom. You can connect with me on Facebook under Margaret Bryant, or type in Margaret Bryant Energy Oracle. My website is seekthelightwithin.com, spelled just how it sounds. I'm on Instagram, Margaret Bryant Energy Oracle. I'm on YouTube, Margaret Bryant Energy Oracle. TikTok, I believe it's Margaret Bryant something. So all of my social media is all connected, and all of those buttons are on my website. Everything on my website, the descriptions of all the work that I do are there, the description of the Egypt retreat and the itinerary, what's included, all the pricing, all of that is on the website as well, seekthelightwithin.com, or it's also under margaretbryant.org. I have both domains attached to it.
Nice.
So multiple ways to get in touch with me. And I'm really good about getting back to people in 24 hours or less, usually. The only time it takes a little more than 24 hours is if I'm actually like driving 12 hours for that day or something like that. I just love helping people. I love what I do. I love teaching because we get to heal more people than just one person working on somebody. So amassing this army of teachers and other healers, and it's of huge importance. And I am witnessing the most miraculous things happening in healing sessions, people's cancer not showing up on reports when they go back for rechecks. And
I think we both got that this week, didn't we?
I did. I got mine a few weeks ago, but it still holds true. And person being told, well, the cancer, it's not showing up on the scan, so it could either be gone or too small. That's the medical community trying to instill the fear in you, but they're also trying to cover their butt with malpractice and all this and that.
Sure.
But also it's the person. You're deserving and worthy of the miracle. Take it. Accept it.
That's right.
They're happening all around us every day. Pay attention. That's all you got to do.
We do get miracles all the time.
Everybody does. They just don't see them.
That's right.
They don't see them. Or they don't believe them when they do see them.
Well, that human brain gets in play, doesn't it?
That's that patriarchal programming. The programming of fear. You're not good enough. You're unworthy. You don't deserve this. You deserve to be punished. You deserve. That's all that programming that I am working to neutralize and change.
Sure.
I'm not the only one doing that kind of work, but I'm doing a very big part of it. And that is my drive, because I know how the veil was hijacked and taken over, and that programming put in. I know how the beings that did that lied to the Elohim and the council and said that they were going to create these really nice, wonderful beings that were going to help Earth. And so they were given permission to do that, and that's not what they did. And so...
No karma there.
No.
No karma there. Well, Margaret, it's always fun to have you here. I always enjoy having you work on me when I come home, and you work on me abroad too. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all the things you've done for me. And I love you, and I appreciate you coming on the show today.
I love you. I love coming on the show. I love to just come and have a conversation and visit, and I'll work on you anytime.
Thank you. And our show's really picking up in Egypt. We got a lot of listeners in Egypt now, so that's fun.
Go Egypt!
So everybody, we'll see you next week, and have a great day.
Much love and infinite blessings to everyone.
Yes.
You've been listening to Enlightenment Unknown with Wes Coons, your guide on the quest for self-discovery and the version of you we haven't met yet.